Graceful Explosion Machine. With a combination of simple drawings and hard geometric shapes, the graphics may seem overly simplified. The eye-popping colors, while catchy, some may see as a cheap way of attempting to make lackluster graphics look good. While this may be true to a certain degree, there is much more at work here. This game's look is designed to be as easy to visually interpret as possible. The idea here is to reduce cheap deaths due to confusing screen clutter without getting rid of one of the hallmarks of this genre: confusing screen clutter. Once you have accustomed yourself to the design, you will notice how much easier it is to identify everything that's going on. Everything in this game has a very distinct shape and color, making it very difficult to mistake one thing for another or lose track of something you've been keeping your eye on. The music on display is not quite typical of this type of game. It is electronic, but it's more low-key and atmospheric than hard-hitting and thumpy. It's nothing that I'm going to be listening to in my car, but it's completely serviceable and it works very well within the game that it was designed for. Of course, music is very much a personal taste type thing, so some others may love it. It's definitely not bad. While it's nothing earth-shattering or super original, everything sounds unique and as it should. Your standard gun has that classic pew-pew, your saber swishes with a very lightsaber-ish sound, your missiles and laser beams sound exactly as you'd expect, and the explosion pop is quite satisfying. Games like this either have tight, responsive controls, or they are a frustrating mess. This game is the former. Because of the unique gameplay mechanics, one must become accustomed to the button layout, but that is up to each player to adapt to. If you aren't a fan of the procedurally generated, aka random style of level construction that has been gaining a lot of popularity lately, you're in luck. Each phase of every level in this game is its own thing, like in arcade games past. You can replay levels to memorize the stage layout and the enemy placement and respawn spots, to optimize your scores and shoot for those leaderboards. Level progression is arcade linear. Level 1-1 leads to level 1-2, World 1 leads to World 2, as one would expect. There are 3 phases in each level, 8 levels in each world, and 4 worlds in the game. Each world ends with an additional skippable warp level. Warp levels have one phase that consists of a large hexagon in the background that slowly fills with light. You are tasked with staying alive until it's finished. Once it's completely lit up, you mop up any remaining enemies and collect a large golden diamond that unlocks that world in the separate challenge mode. Each level starts you with 3 ships. One ship can take 3 hits. If you lose a ship, the game will offer you the chance to start the current phase over. Much like Ikaruga in years past, this is what sets this game apart. Let's break it down, shall we? Either one of the left shoulder buttons will flip your ship. Much like the arcade classic Defender, it takes a bit of getting used to, but becomes second nature once you've adjusted. The left stick moves you. Simple. Either right shoulder button is your boost. You can boost twice in succession before you have to wait for a recharge. You are invulnerable to enemies while boosting, but not power-ups or bullets. That's important to remember. Most weapons in this game consume a portion of your weapons meter. Every enemy that dies leaves behind a small golden diamond that will replenish a small bit of your weapon meter. This lends to an incredibly rewarding and tactically absorbing balancing game that must be played while also taking into account your oh-so-important high score and just surviving the insanity. Each face button on the controller, A, B, X, and Y, are dedicated to a specific weapon. This is a brilliant decision, foregoing the tap a button to cycle through your weapons style of play that always has hindered these types of games in the past. One weapon is your saber. This is a close-range weapon, best suited as sort of an oh shit button, and the only way you have to destroy bullets. Another is the highly specialized laser beam, whose uses may be limited but cannot be forgotten. Finally, you have missiles, the most useful tool in your arsenal. They are guided, they bounce off walls, and all of them launch in the direction that you are pushing in the control stick. Super useful. The last weapon in your arsenal follows its own rules. While most weapons in this game consume a portion of your weapons meter, your standard pew-pew gun has a good rate of fire and a decent range and does not deplete the weapons meter. However, it overheats. As you fire, a meter builds up that will quickly cool down when given the chance. As you get closer to overheating, your ship begins to smoke. The bullets change color and the rate of fire slows down, giving you no excuse for overheating this gun other than your own ineptitude at video games. When you start getting into the more difficult levels of this game, you will find yourself frantically mashing everything on the controller or over-relying on one specific weapon or move, and this will get you killed. As you start to understand the strengths and weaknesses of each weapon and become accustomed to the button layout, finding your way through near impossible situations among massive swarms of enemies becomes incredibly satisfying and looks and feels super cool. Reminds me a lot of the game I mentioned earlier, Ikaruga. At only $12.99, this Switch-exclusive game should be on any action fan's wishlist. If you are a fan of shooters, it should already be on your system. If you don't own a Switch, fear not, it's a timed exclusive, so you can keep your eyes peeled for this indie gem later this year. If I rated games, I would rate this one at about 4 out of 5 Graceful Explosions. But I don't rate games, so you ain't heard that from me.